This is Renee with Delaney Jane Cards, and welcome back to the channel. I'm participating in the encouragement blog hop hosted by Mary Polanco, Bena from Scrabena Creations, and Courtney Keebler. I have set up my card with the stamps and dies that I'm going to use up in the corner of my work paper there. I like to do that just to give me an idea of what my card's going to end up looking like. I'm using this ink on 3 blackout ink. It's my current favorite. I like how it works in my environment, and I'm using Copic markers, and it's Copic friendly, so that's why I chose that one. Some of the inks smear in my area right now. I think it's the humidity level. I really don't know. I'm just guessing. But here I started my Copic coloring, and I am not a person to teach anybody how to color. I have been coloring for a few years. I color how I like to color. You probably won't learn anything, but hey, it's there. I use a BV as my shadow on my skin tones and just blended a few colors on. And then here I'm doing the hair, and I brought in a 4th color to get a little more contrast in my hair. I also used a 4-color blend on my raincoats. They are yellow, and yellows, I don't have a lot of yellows, but yellows are, I guess, really hard to get contrast in. I know a lot of times I'll use orange, like a YR14, or even a E25 is really nice for a shadow on a yellow, but I didn't. I just used my yellows. I think my darkest is a Y19, and my lightest is a Y02, so there's quite a bit of difference there, and I think they turned out fine. I don't think that there's any specific light source to these either, so if you're looking for that, you're not going to find it here. I did some little orange rain boots. I thought those would be fun, and then I realized that I had forgotten the hands and the legs, and there was no color bonding. I just dabbed on one of the E markers and gave them a little color. Here I'm starting the umbrella, and I chose a non-traditional red blending group, I guess. I chose R12, R22, R37, and R43. They are not markers that you would think would blend together, but they do, and they make this beautiful peachy red color that I really, really like. See, I took a second piece of this Nina cardstock that I was using, and I ink blended Twisted Citron and Mowed Lawn Distress Oxides on just this bottom part here. I don't need to blend the whole thing. I'm only using just a little bit of that. And then I pulled out this 6x6 stamp from Simon Says Stamp in this Cosmic Shimmer embossing powder. I was kind of trying to show what it was. It's really hard to see. I'm sorry. But it is not, it's like clear, shimmery, white. I don't know. But it's not the color, or not the embossing powder I would use for this in the future if I was to do this again. So I did put anti-static powder on my paper there. I used that anti-static powder bag, and I have a clip on it because I don't like how that feels on my fingers. I have one of those little brushes, and I use that when I'm embossing smaller areas. I guess I feel like I get better dust coverage with this big bag thing. I don't know. So I'm using Versamark ink here. It's just a sticky ink. I think you could even use VersaFine. I'm pretty sure that the embossing powder, if you chose white or a color, would cover it up. Clear, of course, then you'd have black raindrops, but hey, that might be a thing. So here I'm bringing the paper to the rubber stamp and not the other way around. It allows me to get good even coverage of the stamping, and you can't see a single thing because it's white and it's clear ink on a white background with a white coffee filter, and I'm about to put white embossing powder on it, so this is just a whole bunch of, you can't see a single thing going on. So I guess you can kind of see it there. It's like more of a texture in there. And I was trying not to get it everywhere, but trying to make sure that I had enough of my panel covered. And I need to clean up after I put embossing powder on stuff, or I will knock it over, and that is not good. So my heat gun was warming up off screen. Had been warming up a while, probably since I pulled out the 6x6 stamp set. And I started to heat it from on the top, and I realized I was kind of blowing the glittery stuff around, so I went from underneath, and it kind of melts the layer of plastic that's closest to the paper, because that's all embossing powder is, like really finely ground plastic. So I made sure I had that all embossed, and now you really can hardly see what's going on there because it's white on white on white on a white mat. But I was checking to see if it was grainy in the light, and that is kind of difficult with a sparkly embossing powder because it kind of stays like gritty. So here I'm going to ink blend the background, and I am using my favorite Distress Oxide color combination, Blueprint Sketch and Shaded Lilac. I think it makes the most perfect sky. It's just gorgeous. It's such a gorgeous color combination, and I know that's a purple, but it looks more like a blue to me, and it's just beautiful and perfect. So that's what I used for my sky. I had planned on water drops on my background, the grass background and the sky background, but apparently I was too distracted doing something, talking to someone, probably singing the alphabet with my toddlers over and over, something that I at this point failed to put the water drops on there. But those will happen. Just watch. So now that I have all my ink blending done, I put my dyes on. I have this grass border dye from Avery L, and I love that dye. It's got the neatest grass look to it, and then it also has this cute little picket fence in the same die set, and I absolutely adore it. It makes the perfect scene. So I stuck this down with this purple tape, and I'm kind of on the fence about this purple tape. You see, I've used quite a bit of it. There's that roll. I refuse to buy any more until that's gone. So I know they made a thinner one, but I'm just not sure. With my machine, sometimes it tears my paper, and I have recently replaced my machine, and I'm still having the same issue. So I'm not sure what it is, but I die cut everything off screen, and you can see that I ran the grass and the fence through with that same stitched rectangle die from Mama Elephant to get the same edges on the grass and the fence. And I lined up my sentiment. Just wanted to see which side of the grass that I wanted it on. And I think I'm just kind of that person that likes to put the stuff in the bottom corner. I know a lot of people don't. They like to put their stuff in the middle of the scene. But I find that the bottom corners are my favorite. So I was trying to decide what side of the grass it was going on. And this is a really fine line sentiment. So although I'm using VersaFine Onyx Black ink here, I'm not embossing it, just stamping it. I got a really beautiful crisp image, but I feel like if I would have put embossing powder over that, it might have been kind of smushy and hard to read. So I didn't want that to be an issue. So I did heat set it just so I didn't smear that with my fingers, because that ink does take a while to dry. And then I'm lining everything back up. See, I got a little bit of warping from heat setting that, but it's not too bad. And I'm going to put foam tape behind it anyway. So this roll of foam tape I dated. You can kind of see it there. It says February 16th, 2019 on the inside. I always date the foam tape when I get it. I'm always just curious to see how long it takes me to go through a roll of foam tape. I don't waste it. I don't use it on every card, but I still seem to go through it pretty quickly. That's not all that many months. So you see there, I put some liquid glue on my foam tape. It's not that I don't think the foam tape will stick. It's that I want to make sure that I have everything lined up, and that little bit of liquid glue gives me a little bit of wiggle room. And then I still have the dimension from the foam tape. So I do that kind of often. And I'm new to this art glitter glue in this giant bottle with the metal tip and the pin. I am 99.9% sure that I'm going to lose that little metal pin, and then my glue will all dry up because I won't know that I lost the little pin, and by the time I can get to use it again, it'll be dry. I need a tip or trick or something so that I don't lose it. Currently, I put it at the edge of my glass mat and just hope I am in the habit of always doing that. So here I'm putting foam tape on the back of my little raincoat kits. I did put it on the boots here, and then when I started putting foam tape on the second one, I realized that those little boots will be over that layer of foam tape on the grass, and I didn't need them. I did end up using them on that second little raincoat kit though, so it didn't go to waste. And I stick my foam tape there on the side of my roll all the time. It just is a really nice place to keep it, I guess. I don't know. So I hadn't stuck anything down yet, and here I'm going to use that liquid glue trick again. I want to make sure that I have everything lined up where I want it, but I still want that dimension, and I don't want to destroy my background if I have to just move the image just a little bit. So this kind of gives me that little bit of liquid glue wiggle room by doing that. So I put that first kid on the one that's right above the sentiment. I wanted to make sure that that's where he lined up. And I put the second one on, and I wanted their hands to overlap so that they were holding this umbrella together. It goes really nicely with that sweet little sentiment. So this took longer than I thought it was going to. I wanted them under the umbrella, but I wanted the umbrella stick in their hand, and it just took a little while to line all that up. Thankfully, I could speed a video up. And then I needed to decide what I wanted to mat this with, and I decided on this darker gray. I wish I would have heat embossed or even just watermark stamped this panel with the same rain backdrop. I feel like that would have been a really good finishing touch, but hindsight is always 20/20, and there's a lot of things I would change on this card, but I'm not making it again. One time. So there I was, making sure that I really liked it. And I guess that gray does really bring out that shaded lilac. It's kind of the same tone, so it looks really nice. And I'm using this liquid glue on here. I used to just use my ATG gun, but I guess I am reaching for this glitter glue quite a bit. Maybe because it's a giant bottle and I have nowhere else for it to be except for right out in my face. So that's what I've been doing a lot lately, is using this glue. So here I'm making sure that it's all straight on my panel. I'm looking at it and trying to figure out what else it needs, because now we're to the point where we need to do stuff. And oh, there's that little pin. I needed to remember to put that away before I lost that, or one of my toddlers ran off with it, or the cat knocked it off the desk or something. And here's where I realized that I still had not done the water drops, so I tried to be really, really careful. And for the most part I was. You can see some of them drops are getting on the gray, and there was a couple that got on my coloring, but I didn't touch them, so they didn't get any oils from my fingers or any dirt. So they did dry. And I did end up with the really cool water drops that you get, that reaction from the distress oxides. So I thought that was really fun. And then I got out this clear glitter pen, which is on its last leg. This thing is dying a slow death. It's the last of 3. I need to get a new one. So I decided to put it on the umbrella here because I figured the umbrella would be shiny, and glitter is shiny. And then once I had that done, then I thought, well, the rain boots looked like they needed to shine. And I thought, well, if I was splashing in puddles, they would be shiny. And then I wasn't sure, and then I went for it. I decided the raincoats also should be shiny and glittery. So I put this glittery stuff all over the kids' raincoats, and I tried to make sure that it was covered completely. And like I said, this is it a marker? Pen? Paintbrush thing? It's got not much left in it, so it took a little while to make sure that I had it covered properly. But I think I got it there. I mean, I'm looking at it now and it looks like it's covered pretty well. So that's my card for today. There is a link below for the next video in the video hop. I really enjoyed you stopping by. I would love for you to subscribe. Thank you so much.